Hey, good evening. Let's talk Facebook and YouTube because I ain't doing Periscope tonight. But tonight is which every Sunday we do K's Corner and Vay's Let's Talk, and we're doing part 2 to lock down love and lies. We have a special guest. She'll be joining us shortly, and as Kay says, we're gonna emphasize lies.
Lies. The lies. So, guys, number one, I just want to apologize. I really, really, really did not feel good last week. And I was like watching it. I was all over the place. I was in the bed. I was like, what the? I looked like it was like a porn. No. So I apologize for being sick in the bed. I should have sat up. I just could not. I just was so sick. This summer cold was kicking. Like these allergies, something serious. But so I apologize. But I felt like we needed to really, like you said, delve deeper into the situation. So let me do the background on the guest, Nakia Monet. Quentin just sent her the link, so I guess she's logging in now. We'll see. But I am a bit, I am big on time. Put it like that. So we say we're gonna start at 9. We're gonna start at 9. People are waiting, so we want to give you what it is. So I'll give you the background of what happened. We talked about we talked about we talked extensively about letters, right? Talked about, so if you don't, just a recap, last week, man is in jail. Quentin talked about from his end, and we talked about from our end, and we received these letters, and they're so thought provoking. Like they just changed the name. We all get the same letters about how, I really didn't do you right. You know what I'm saying? But these people sat me down for this time, and I'm able to really refocus my time and my mind. And I know that you was the right woman for me, but I didn't treat you right. So I want to treat you right. And when I come home, am I getting it right, Quentin?
Yeah,
Writing letters like that? Just be
yeah,
honest. Did you write?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna be the man you need me to be. What kind of man would I be? Like they all of that. I know I was running around in these streets, but the streets is dead. When I come home and get a job, it's gonna be about me and you. I'm gonna marry you. If I could, I'll marry you right now. If I could, I'll marry you right now. They always want to marry you right now. So we really didn't get into the fact that I almost fell for getting married to someone in jail. Okay, we didn't go into that. So the letters had got me. I believed in him for the third time. That was the third bid, right? That was the third bid he did. I believed in him. I was like, he going to right. I'm gonna marry him. So then when he come home, I figured in my mind, if I marry him while he locked up, when he come home, he gonna stand true to his word. I'm gonna tell you why I did not marry him. I was all set. Was doing the paperwork to get married, and a meme popped up, and it says, "You bitch, you bees love marrying a man in jail." Okay, congratulations, Miss A-41234. And I saw that as a sign from God. If y'all don't know what A-4, every inmate is not a name. They have a number. A prisoner, but the COs, inmate, they call them inmates. They are numbers. They don't have a name. It's a letter followed by some numbers and a dash and a one or something like that. And if you're in the feds, you know what state you from by the last three numbers. Like 050 is New Jersey. So you hear a lot of people screaming 050. They probably was in federal prison, right? So that's 050 is New Jersey. So their number will be. So when I saw that meme, and I was like, yeah, I'm too bougie for this. I'm too bougie. I cannot get married to somebody in jail and somebody post this meme and they aim it at me because I'm gonna want to fight, right? I can't be Miss A dash
So it was a meme that changed all them feelings you was feeling and everything.
my whole life. I was like we were preparing because I fell for the okey doke and we were preparing. I was like, you know what? It ain't nobody out here anyway. All the good men is in jail or dead. I was one of them. All the good men is in jail or dead. So I might as well marry him. We've been together all this amount of years. And why not? And who cares? And I don't care what
Time waits for no one.
time waits for no one. I don't care what nobody has to say. This is my life. I'm gonna live it the way I want to live it. And I seen that meme, and I was like, "Bitch, you bugging? Like you don't have to marry. You are the catch." sometimes you really gotta self-talk yourself. You gotta look in the mirror and say, listen, I don't have any children. I was in my 30s. I was in my prime. I don't have any children. I have my own home. I had my
If
bachelor's
you if you don't mind me asking, how long was you willing to wait till your husband came home? That would have been your husband. How much time did he have?
he had like 9 more months because New Jersey, when they changed governors, they started believing in that drug program. So he had went to court and said he had a drug problem. So they was like, oh, we'll send you to like a treatment program. So they was trying to send him to a treatment program. But where he messed up is he's never done drugs a day in his life. He's never even smoked weed. He doesn't even drink. So when we went to the court, the judge was like, I find it very hard to believe that you never relapse, because it's known that when they go get drug tested, they fail a drug test when they go to their parole officers every once in a while. He was like, you are very in shape, because he's all cut up and buff. He was like, your lips are the same color, all of those
Yeah,
things. The eyes are not joined. This like you've never done drugs. I think that you're just saying that you did drugs to get because they had me get the drug program, right? So I was like, I was like, I could just do this 9 months and he come home. But ladies, when you date somebody, she's saying she having issues quitting logging in. I don't know. When you date somebody, they are either an asset or a liability. And when they're in jail, they are a liability, because you're paying for everything. You're paying for the phone calls. You're paying for the emails. You sending cards. You put money on their books. You paying for their commissary. They need oodles and noodles. They need soap. Their jail don't provide nothing. They need soap, toothpaste, toothbrush. You want them to stay clean. You don't want them to be the bums in jail. You out here doing this and that. She just sent her number quitting for you to text it to her if you could do that.
I got it.
All right. And so sorry guys. So it becomes like you're just taking care of this person. And so I was like, well, when he come home, he gonna get a job. And I told y'all last week about when he got a job and he pretended that he was going to work, and I caught him. I parked around the corner. I snuck home and sitting at the door waiting for him, and he jumped like he got off early, but he had really quit his job. And rest in peace to his grandmother. I went to a funeral Friday. She just passed away, because like we was together for so many years, old people don't know. She like, he don't got that job no more. I was like, oh, thank you, grandma. Old people don't be knowing, you know what I'm saying? They don't never mean to do it on purpose. So long story short, I talked extensively about the letter. So Nakia watched this. Nakia has her own podcast called The Muzzle Is Off. Nakia Monet, she'll come here and you can follow her and watch her podcast. And she inboxed me next morning like, yo, why was I cleaning out a drawer and I just found an inmate letter saying all the things I had said.
Wow.
What? So she sent me the letter and I zoomed in. I said, damn, this Sharif. Oh, I'm gonna
Oh,
say, did old boy write this? Because it was the same thing. Like, right when I was home, because I didn't know what I had in front of me, the jewel, the queen that I had. So she said she fell for the okie doke and married an inmate. I said, wait, what? Because I thought she was like Miss High and Mighty, bougie, never would talk to. This is what perception, right? When you look at somebody and what you think about them. And so she said she wanted to come on into her story. So if she come on in, she could tell her, we can start from her, we can go right on in to her story and what happened in her life.
yeah, Nakia, I sent you my. If you're watching, I sent you my number via. I sent you my number via Messenger. So as soon as you text me your number,
She
I'll
said,
send you. I'll send you the link. I didn't get it. I
all
didn't
right,
get her number.
give me 2 seconds. You talk to them. I can see it.
Yeah. So that's an interesting perspective. For everybody that's watching, a lot of times when people are in love, I guess when they're incarcerated, they will try to get married. I know in New Jersey they don't have conjugal visits, but in other states, if you're married, you have conjugal visits. So sometimes that's an incentive for a lot of people to get married. They want to have sex or whatever. Some situations will call where a person will get married for the sake of, they want to be together. So uh, Nakia has a very interesting perspective, and she's going to be a very interesting guest on the show.
We can
That
get, yeah,
I mean, Kay is giving you her
I'm giving
perspective,
you
and
all the back then. You don't have to
yeah,
go backwards. We gonna go forward And so I said, yo, you want to come on the show and tell your story? She was like, well, wait, I was going to marry the one inmate and I didn't. And then I married the next one. I said, damn, how many you had? She said, a few. So she said the gloves is off. She want to tell her story. So I won't tell her story for her. I'll let her tell the bits and pieces that she wants to tell. Q, I just sent you her number. So
No, she on. I got it. I'm about to bring it right in right now. How you doing, Nakia?
Good. How you doing?
I'm all right. How's everything?
Listen, trying to figure this out. What's going
first and foremost, could you please tell my audience to your podcast and what your podcast is about? Because you're a content creator as well, and I know that you wrote a book. You know, I was being nosy because this is what we do, and you wrote a book. And tell us about that.
All right. So I wrote a book. It was in When the Soul Cries, Volume 1. There is a Volume 2 that is out right now, but I wrote in Volume 1, and it was called Unlegally Married. So I have a podcast that is out right now, and it is called When the Mothers of Podcast. And I go on air like every Wednesday at 7 p.m. via Facebook, Instagram, not really Instagram, but via Facebook, Periscope, and I'm live on that.
Great, great, great. I subscribe to your channel, and I definitely tune in as much as I can. And
Thank
we definitely want to support each other, and because this thing is hard, definitely trying to get it off the ground, and trying to get subscribers and viewers to appreciate your content and appreciate the background work that goes beyond it. But
Definitely is.
so what we
I
understand.
book. So the book is on the book.
The book is on the book is on Amazon.
So hold on
Under
further. She has some K Brown, y'all. So she might be a little delayed because she had the K Brown take you down.
yes, listen. But the book is on listen, that K Brown is the truth. But the book is definitely on Facebook. It is on Amazon, and I'm actually in the process. I'm trying to find my headset, so don't judge me. But it is actually in the process of being re-released right now.
Great, great.
Okay, well, let
So
me know.
Kay kind of gave us some background information, and I'm glad that you decided to tell your truth. Because a lot of people don't like to share when we talk about topics like this because people sometimes feel ashamed, which we shouldn't feel ashamed. Actually, we all been through it. Definitely, if you're from the areas that we're all from.
Exactly.
So just to give you a quick synopsis, I gave the rundown of the show last week, how you me and what you said. Yeah, and I said that you was going to tell. You sent me a letter. I zoomed in and read the letter. It was just like
It was
like
literally like
word for word the same
for
letter.
real.
Same letter. They just take the name off. And you said you felt so. The floor is yours. We want to know what happened after you fell for
It
the.
might have been a copy and paste letter. That just
Listen, I ain't even gonna hold you. It really might have been a copy and paste letter because after listening to last week, I was like, wait a minute, he might not have been as genuine as I thought that letter was supposed to be honest.
Well, Quinn said that he wrote letters like that, so I think it's something that whatever. But so go ahead, we ready for you. It's all the floor is yours.
All right, so let me say this. This was like literally in I done found my good little what do you, AirPods, praise him. Um this literally was in the beginning of ever experiencing some type of lockdown love, right? Because I had never experienced nothing like this before. So the letter that I sent to UK, which is literally right here.
how's the penmanship?
He write just like after the
Look, like every other jail letter that you get, okay? It comes, okay? And this was literally this letter. Let me start this over saying this. I found this letter because I was going through my jewelry box and I was trying to find a pendant that I always wore. So I found this letter in between the drawer and the back of the jewelry box. And I was like, wait a minute, what is this? Like, it was literally folded up like this. in the back of my jewelry box. And I was like, what is this? I was like, wait a minute, let me open it up and read. I was like, oh snap, this is like, it literally says February 10th, 2006. And then it says what you are.
2006.
And then it's 2000. I'm trying to tell you how far back this goes, okay? 2006. And it says, beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes, and I'm telling you, this is like literally out of somebody's like Hallmark card that this nigga decided to send to me, and I ate it up. I'm just being honest, I ate it up. So it says, beauty come. You know what, Quentin? Don't do that. I ate it up in 2006.
No, he was very sincere. He was sincere.
He wasn't, but okay. It says beauty comes in all sizes, right? Sometimes in the rarest forms. You can see beauty, but true beauty has to be felt. When I first met you, in all due respect, that was in quotations, okay? You wasn't at your best. Like, nigga, you tried to play me, but okay. You look good, but once we started hanging out and I got to know you, you became beautiful in my eyes. Like, really? Like, this how this was. You became a diamond in the rough. See, some wouldn't recognize your worth, but I knew you were a precious jewel. But at the time, you were going through a lot of issues, and I was determined to polish you. He was determined to polish me back. Okay.
I can't, yo, you can't even
don't
get
feel
through.
this
It's
shit.
the key
Like,
is making me laugh. I can't even hold the laugh in. I can't. I can't.
because this,
Let
it
me
is
ask you a question. Let me,
2020 and this is from like 2006.
Nakia, before you
Go
finish, let me
ahead,
ask you a little
Quentin.
bit of background on said individual. Was he like your guy when he left?
Was he a boyfriend when you left, or was you just a friend?
He, we was a friend.
Okay.
We was really a friend. So when he got locked up, like we were still seeing each other, but we wasn't real serious, right? So as of 2006, when this letter was sent, we was actually in a committed relationship, right? So after receiving so many other letters, because who knows how many other letters that was actually sent prior to this, me hearing, okay, you was a diamond in the rough, you became flawless, you became a diamond. Now nobody can overlook you because to everybody you're worth millions, but to me you're still priceless. Like all of that, you eat all that, you literally eat all that up, right? And at the time, I was like, oh, okay, he really meant his words. But what people fail to realize is that when you locked up, all you have is your words. All you have is a bunch of letters. All you have is a bunch of books. All you have is a bunch of whatever the case may be
A bunch.
that will cause a person like myself or like other people to literally sit there and take the time to write you and to be one with you in all of that mess, right? Because the truth of the matter is, he honestly was not the first person. He wasn't even the second person. He was probably like the first, like the fourth or the fifth person that to literally tell me some crap that I really wanted to hear outside of what was really real. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna ask you a
Because even
question.
after him, I literally married somebody that was in jail. Like me and my ex-husband, he was in jail and we was literally married. So it was like going through this letter number, how many ever, um, it was what it was. But I still literally married somebody September 9th, 2009, that was literally locked up in prison. And the truth of the matter is that I personally would not recommend that for anybody,
So wait, no, that's
but
what
everybody lives their own course, right?
marry him with his
But
work.
What'd you say?
Okay,
Say
I
it again,
can't hear
Kay.
you.
I said, how did he get you to marry him with his words? Can you hear
You
me?
can't, Nakia, you can't hear Kay? Nakia, could you hear us? She can't hear us.
She can hear us.
Nah.
I can see you.
Yeah, you can't hear us. It's probably your AirPods. Her AirPods is probably doing it. Because when you're on Bluetooth, it'll shut down the volume. Could you hear us, Nakia? Yeah, she probably can't hear us. Oh man, we having a fun show and we having a good show. So this is very entertaining for everybody as well as informative. Nakia, you still can't hear us? Hold on, Kay.
Okay.
Keep talking. So I'm gonna text her. I
Okay.
can I
So
can hear her because she's doing something, but she can't hear us. Go ahead, Kay.
yeah, no. So what I was gonna ask her was, how did he get you? Like, that's how it got me. It was through the words. It was through the want to believe that a man was gonna do different. And, unfortunately out here it's not a lot going on. So when somebody is giving you those words that are making you feel good, and this was prior to, like she's talking about 2006, 7, 8, 9. This is prior to email, right? So we were so happy to be able to get those letters. I couldn't wait to get home from work and hope he wrote me. And when he didn't write me, I would be so sad. You know what I mean? I would be at work, not working, writing letters. I would write my letters. You know what I mean? Can
Hmm.
he, um, hmm um, Dwayne's text. So, so
Yeah, I just texted her.
words really do get you, like, but then out that they are, when you find out, it's like people, like when you watch the show, right? Love After Lockup. I don't know if you watch,
Hmm.
and you find out, like, I was the jailhouse writer. Like, I used to write the letters. It hurt your feelings a little bit because you're like, yo, you wasn't even really writing these letters. Like, you had somebody else writing about felt you couldn't. But then you kind of find out who graduated and who didn't. The last guy that was in jail, I thought his 5-year-old was who wrote this. Why is your hand like this? Like, when you first learn to write and you hold the pen like this, that's how he looked like he was writing his letters.
Nakia, can you hear us? Yeah, we could hear her, Kay. I texted and she got rid of her earbuds, but we can't. She can't hear us, but we can hear her. But look, honestly, I don't know about the jail writer, but I know that a lot of cases people do write their own letters. I don't know why they would front and act like they don't. I mean, I really like you do got people that be into the card thing, like they'll spill their whole heart out in a letter and it be basically a card. I mean, I think dudes be sincere. I mean, I don't think I was ever unsincere when I wrote letters. I just think that things happen when you come home. And I think the being in a relationship and all that, we don't realize that, on the outside life goes on and people grow out of love with you as well as they grow in love with
Well, let me ask you this. What I was told, that because when you're in jail, you have more time to think and you really can focus on those who did you right and that you did wrong. And your intention is good at that time. But when you come home, it's so much temptation and it's so much that you felt like you missed out on that you trying to play catch up.
you. That's absolutely correct. One of the biggest things, and I tell people this, that don't be in good situations when they come home, even from having that other page. Like, you'll be amazed how many people come home and don't even have ID. That seems unheard of now. Like,
How many times I had to take off a day of work? And that was my biggest issue. Like, I'm not taking off a day of work this time. I want you to come to me. If it was supposed to be me and him, right? When he come home, because he come home next year. If it's supposed to be me and you, I want you to come to me, which you already have an apartment, you already have a job. Like, I was tired of taking a day off work. You did 4 bids. I was tired of taking a day off work to go to Newark to get you a birth certificate because you don't know where your birth certificate is, to get a social security card, to go to motor vehicle to get an ID. You only can get a state ID because you know your license be suspended, to get you a state ID to try to help you to get a job. Now I'm taking all these days off of work to do this and running around with you. And then you want to go see this boy and that boy because this one owe you and that one owe you. And you think that they, like it was back in the 90s, early 2000s, where they handing out each one of your boys going to have 1,000 for you. And here they go having a raggedy $180. And you looking at them and I'm like, yo, the streets have changed. You know what I'm saying? And so
And
weight falls on you. I'm swiping my card, buying you.
and that's a reality that a lot of people don't understand. Like, I don't care if it's your husband, your boyfriend, your cousin, your brother. You got to allow them to learn because they really have to start their life all over again with the ID, with getting on their feet, and then that deals with their self-esteem, how they feel about themselves, where they feel like they should be in life. Like they be like, damn, I was gone 10 years. I got 10 years to make up. I'm 40 years old and don't even got credit.
But
Like,
as a real woman, see, that's the thing with men. Y'all don't be really wanting to let us go. A real woman will tell you, like, listen, I'm always gonna be your friend. Just let me move on and go. And if it's meant to be, it's gonna be. But they want to have their cake and eat it too. You know what I'm saying? They want to be selfish. And I've seen it so many times where, so of course, the first 2 bids, I waited. Right? I didn't date nobody else. I didn't talk to nobody else. I didn't entertain no man. By the 3rd time you going to jail, I'm tired. Right? I want to go to the movies. I want to go out to eat. That don't mean nothing about sexual. It means I want to be the person that goes out to eat with you, or we gonna go do this, or we gonna go do that, or whatever. I'm going out on dates. You know what I mean? But
mm-hmm.
I'm respectful. I'm making sure it ain't nobody and I'm making sure that it don't get back to you. I'm still doing my part on making sure you got money on your books and all this and that. But anything else, it's not.
Nakia, could you hear us? Oh, we
Okay.
can't hear her again. I don't know what's up. Can you hear us, Nakia?
Yep, I can hear you now.
All
Oh,
right, you can finish. Make
it's on you. You were going to tell us, because we're at the 9:30 mark. So you were going to tell us how you met your husband and got married.
So basically, I met him through a friend of mine, and her and I were very close. And I had a question to ask him. And part of the question that I had to ask him was relating to the boyfriend that I had. And the reason why I had to ask him the question was because of a situation that had arose with the ex that I had. And because the situation arose, he was the right person to ask at the right time in order to get the question remedied. So I had to ask him pertaining to my ex about what was really going on with him. And the both of them were heavily into, I guess, like a gang related lifestyle. So I had to ask my ex-husband pertaining to a very particular situation that had arose that would have caused my ex-boyfriend to have an issue while he was still yet in prison.
mm-hmm.
So I met my ex-husband due to that level of a situation. And when he and I began to speak, he basically asked me, did I know him? And I was like, no, I don't know you. And okay, because they all swear that they're known. So I was like, no, I don't know you. And he was like, what? Google me. And I was like, listen, in the very small world that you live in, I live in a larger world. So I can Google you and figure out what Google has to say about you, but the world that I live in is much larger than the world that you live in. So I'll Google you, but I'm not gonna like hold you to that standard of what Google says about you. So I Googled him. And that's how I learned like literally exactly who he was.
Okay. Okay.
And that
So
turned you want to marry him?
Yeah, because like although I Googled him and I read everything about him, like I read everything about his charges, I read everything about his case, I read all of that stuff, and I was like, okay, but at the same time, you would have been locked up for so long at that point. That's not who you are today. So who am I meeting today? And I literally held him accountable to who I was meeting as of that day. And I met him like January of 2009. He and I didn't get married until September of 2009. So it was like that period of time. I was like, all right. It wasn't that long, I know.
No, it's no judgment. We just want to make sure we're hearing correctly.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. How much time was he due to come home before you decided to marry him?
He was supposed to come home April of 2010. So literally, he was supposed to come home April 24th, 2010.
Yeah. So you
So
married about 7, 8 months before you came home.
yeah, so we got married September 9th, 2009. So 999, we got married.
So that is cute. You remember them dates, right?
Yeah, I remember. I remember
So
all the dates.
so let me ask you what made you, unfortunately that's your ex. I mean, it might be fortunately for you, but what made you feel, do you feel like he was truthful all the way the whole time with you? I don't know the situation why y'all not together no more. I mean, you could fill in the blanks if you don't mind. If you want to explain it, you don't have to. I mean,
wait, can I ask a quick question before that? Before we go back, he had 10 months. What made you not want to wait just the 10 months till he came home to get married?
Nah, he had like a little over a year. So we got married September 9th, 2009. He wasn't expected to be out until September 24th, 2010. And we really could, like, all jokes aside, we really could have waited, but we just didn't. Like, I literally met him about January of 2009. At the time in which I met him, not physically, but over the phone, he and I just clicked. Like, there was some, like, he basically said to me that no one had ever spoken to him the way that I had spoken to him. Like, I basically told him, like, his world was very minor compared to the world that I was living in. So you want me to Google you compared to your world, but compared to my world, you're not even a smidget in my world. So he basically said that no one had ever really spoken that way to him. So I was like, really? Well, that's amazing to me, because at the end of the day, like, your world is small. And
Nakia, he told you taught him how to love?
yeah, pretty much, like, that's pretty much what it was. Although he had been in other relationships literally prior to me, but he basically said, yeah, pretty much that. Yeah, that was it.
I asked that because I'm not, I know people that come from that type of lifestyle. I mean, I won't say I'm from that type of lifestyle, but people that come from that type of lifestyle, a lot of times they grew up and it was around some real harsh realities. So a person like yourself, from what my perception of you is, a person that has faith, a person that's caring, showing compassion, it's a breath of fresh air for that person, and it's like new. So you can finish. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was some of that question. You asked a very important question if she wanted to share. Like, so when he came home, how was that? Is that why y'all are not together? Was he not the person that he portrayed himself to be in that letter?
No, he never even got a chance to come home, because the feds picked him up like the day he was supposed to come home. So that's a whole nother ball game as far as what happened with that. But he never even got a chance out here. Wow. And he was that's why I'm like, that September 24th date is it's a monumental date for my life, for the simple fact that that was the date he was supposed to come home, and that was the date that I literally went down to Trenton to go pick him up. But that also is the date 2 years ago that I miscarried. So
sorry to hear that.
Sorry for your loss.
It's all right, because I swear the dude I miscarried from, it wasn't what it was all cracked up to
So let
be.
me ask you.
I be like,
So you done gave me some more information to ask you a question. So you went down Trenton. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't think was he? So he was an asset down Trenton.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't think like, damn, he had said, well, maybe he got some fresh charges that just ain't drop on him. Like
no, we
you,
don't have that.
I mean, okay, I'm just
I ain't
asking.
gonna hold you. The way they played that with the Fed was that shit. All jokes. I'm sorry if your podcasters don't cuss, but it was brilliant. Like
Oh yes.
I
But
went
they
down
said,
there.
yeah.
I went down there. His son was with me. One of his best friends were with me. This is how brilliant the whole thing was played out because they literally thought that they listened to our call like a couple days beforehand, where he was giving me instruction on how to handle picking him up from that jail. And his instruction and what I did was completely contrary to how everything went out. His instruction was to basically have someone there that was a shooter and would be ready to shoot because he just felt that at that time someone was going to be there ready
I
to
heard him.
target practice, right? Because of who he was. So I played at a different angle. I was, he was like, "Are you listening to me?" And I was like, "Yeah. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it." But I didn't do it that way. I played it a totally different ball game. I had his son with me. I had one of his best friends with me that wasn't into that lifestyle. So when we went down there to go pick him up, they were thinking because they listen
That
that
you was gonna have somebody with you that had guns in the car and all that other stuff.
guns in the car. So the feds had already picked him up. So they literally had us hemmed up separately in 3 different rooms. They had me, they had the best friend and his son, but they knew they couldn't question his son because his son was underage. So they had me and the best friend. When they realized there was nothing really for them to crack between me and the best friend, they let us leave, but then they pulled us over as we were leaving. It was a whole big ordeal for them to literally come up with nothing but give me a bogus ticket to say, "Oh, you didn't put your right hand signal on when you went to go turn right out the jail from Trenton." And I was like, "So y'all gonna give me a right ticket failure?"
I'm gonna ask you, Nakia. Like, I don't know much about you, right? You never once said to yourself, like, "Yo, I need to remove myself from all this. I didn't sign up for the madness." Though you knew though the Google and him telling you, you didn't want to hear all that. You didn't say to yourself, like, "Yo, like in his little world, he is a somebody. So let me remove myself because like you were in harm's way."
No, because like for me, he was already serving time for who he was, right? Like, so at that point in time in which they gave him the amount of years that they gave him, he was already serving time for that portion of who he was. So for me, it was like, okay, I met you in 2009. We moving forward from there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
period. Like we are literally moving forward from there. And what he did do was he never kept it a secret and said, "You know what? There's a possibility." Like he always kept it real. He was like, "There's a possibility that these niggas might come and mess with me." And I'm like, in my mind, how far could they really go? I didn't know they could go as far as they went because he never made it seem like it was like the feds. He always made it seem like it was the state. But we all know when it's the Fed, it's a totally different ball game. So when they came and got him, um, February, April 24th of 2010, when they really came and got him, it was a totally different ball game, because I was just like, okay, he was supposed to come home this day. Like, we were there to bring him home. Like, we had food, we had clothes, we had everything to bring him home. And now this is not happening. I mean, even today, right now, he's still in there. He has another, like, maybe 2-3 more years to go before he's actually able to come home.
Yeah, because what the feds do, you don't have a when you coming home from state prison, New Jersey, they know if you have what they call detainers. But
Yeah.
what the feds do is they won't put a detainer hold on you until the day you get released. That's when the warrant or the indictment will get dropped or unsealed, so to say.
It's
So
like
that's what happened that morning.
cry. They want to see you all that, but I know, my brother, like, don't ever let him see you cry. So I used to be stone faced, like.
Let me tell you something. Those feds, they on the first day of his court, they already knew who I was. I didn't even know who they were. They came up to me. They were like, "Here, Mrs. So and so. Here's the information. Here's where you need to come get his property." And I went there. I picked it up. We was down in North. They had like a whole big room, and they literally showed me. They were like, "Here's you. Here's this. Here's that." And how they pieced everything together. And I was like, "That's not me." And they were like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "That's not me." And they were like, "No, but you." I was like, "No, but that's not me." I said, "Do your search. That's not me." Right? Because they were so busy in piecing a puzzle together that they didn't realize that just because someone might have mentioned like me, it wasn't necessarily me that they picked up in their little collage of what it was. And it wasn't me. It was literally somebody else. Not that they were portraying to be me, but it was because of a situation that had occurred that they thought it was me. And I'm like, "No, that's not me.
Wow.
I didn't meet him at that point. I met him here." And I mean,
Be trying to case me up.
yeah, like
Yeah.
we're not doing that.
I don't need to know much about your situation, but for the people that's watching it in the chat, conspiracy is a very, very vague thing. And when the feds try to get somebody for conspiracy, the web that they try to get the big spider with, or whatever the fly with, or the big fish with, that web gets expanded, and you can get caught up with somebody's conspiracy just by knowing. Nakia, just by hearing certain things, she could have been jammed up, and by the grace of God, she didn't get herself in those situations that could have been really bad.
Because it wasn't me.
Voice. So you said, Did you? You was like, I can't do it.
Oh yeah. Now for the divorce issue. I mean, you could explain that. I mean, after a while, after that traumatic experience.
Post them, like, what happened?
I ain't even gonna hold you. It wasn't even like it was like literally. He and I had this conversation like probably about January this year. He was like, "You literally came down here and said this ain't for me," and I meant that though. Like when you have the feds coming up to your school and showing a picture and saying this, and then you have the feds, you show up at court because that's your husband, and they're saying, "We know this is you. Here you go. This is where you need to be." And then you show up where they tell you need to be, and then they have all this stuff plastered about who you are. "You know what, ma'am? Yeah, we know you live here, and we know you go to school here, and we know this, that, and like they know before you can even verbalize to them who you are. We know this. No, this isn't my life. This isn't what I plan to be. This isn't who I plan to be." So when he and I had that conversation, it was after everything that took place with the feds. He was like, "Well, what did you do with my property?" I said, "I dumped it."
You threw it out? I at least still got his box up in the attic.
Mm-mm. When the feds came, it got dumped in Harlem.
Look
And
here, I'm not gonna tell you no lie. I don't, I done seen from being away. I done seen all types of situations. I done heard all types of situations. But he lucky you even giving him a conversation.
also,
Cause
you want to know why? Because when he and I can honestly say from then, I met him January of 2009. I promise you, he's probably been one of the most realest relationships that I've ever been in from January 2009. Like, he never lied to me. Like, there was no, oh, well, this could possibly happen. That could possibly, like, it was never no, I didn't think it. I knew it was a situation that could come up. And even when the feds came, this is how deep this stuff is because they knew everything. They were like, listen, we want you to know that when he was with you, he was with you. And I'm like, damn, how y'all taking up for him?
Hey, let me tell you something. Let me just cut in right there. They know everything. They tell you about the side girls if it's some. Well, you know you're not the only one. They tell you the feds tell you everything.
for those in the chat, these young ladies are not explaining a scene from Power or
No,
none of these shows that we watch. This is real
Real life.
life
well,
stuff.
like,
An example, the feds will tell you, like, I knew, they called me like Miss Writer, right? Because I would write my brothers, all his friends. We talked about the cars last week, the Jersey cars and stuff, and I would write them. And then the one guy, when he got locked up, the feds told his girlfriend, like, he got another baby on the side. His other baby mother lived on the other side of town, which he did. So the feds will tell all your business. So we know that part is real. So he just
Dwayne,
because we
Cousin Dwayne said, "This is better than the Shy right now."
exactly everything's better than the shot. But no, so I want to because we getting because we like to stay within our hour in the kid. We getting into our 9:50 time. So how did you do? How we want to know? So we know how you married him. He wrapped you up with them words. You wanted to ask him a question about another man, and he done took you from the other man.
Nah, he said, listen, you ain't dealing with no pup right now. Like I gotta use the
That's what
lingo. I
right.
gotta use the lingo, okay?
Asked him about how did you
Yeah.
break that off?
He was a pup.
Question. So
He was
how
a
did you
pup.
break it off with the man that you had a question about? You just
He,
ghosted him?
he was a pup, Kay. It was easy.
it was easy, but not easy, right? Because when you're dealing with a triple O compared to someone that has absolutely no stain whatsoever,
Mm.
it's not exactly easy, right? But you begin to understand the progression. My husband wanted to really do what he was supposed to do as a triple, right? But it took me being the person that I am to say, don't do that.
Don't do nothing to him. Yeah.
Don't do that.
So now
Like,
you still speak to him or no? He deaded you when you married the other dude.
no, me and his mother is like, man, cool. Even though I don't think she fully understands how I put myself out there in order to ensure that her son is still here today
That he was safe. Yeah.
and safe.
So so we know. All right. So he broke up. Then you got. So where was I want to know I want to hear the conversation when you was like, this ain't. You got 10 more years. I ain't signed up for this. We need a divorce. What did that conversation look like?
That was a very tough conversation.
Was it face to face? Was it over the phone, or was it through a letter?
It was face to face and through a letter and over the phone.
Hey, you did.
So
you sent him a Dear John letter, the kid. Let me find out.
I did. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I really did.
I got one before too. That's how I know.
That's why I said, because Dear John, like, listen, this ain't working. I ain't cutting it. I wish you all the best, and then you pray you never run into them out here in these streets nowhere. But go ahead.
Let me tell you, it was face to face at first. I was like, to the point where, like, earlier this year, he really brought that up to me, like, verbatim. I was like, I ain't built for this. And that was because they had literally, so my ex-husband, if I actually said his name, people would really know who he is. That
Don't say his name.
I don't. I don't say his name for a very good reason. But he was very well known. So to the point where in the prison system, they literally gave him a short name and they sent him along his way. So when he was here, I was like, this I'm not made for. And that's what I did. I literally did this. I'm not made for it. And he was literally in front of my face. And I was like, I can't do this. You know, after we had already did this. So he was supposed to be out. And so now you hit me with even more time than what you originally said that you had, right? So it was like, nah, I'm not built for this. And earlier this year, he and I had a very good conversation, although he's still very angry. So he deleted me from his good email account, which
They think that they be hurting our feelings with that. I don't give a rat's.
Hello, because I got that good email that said you have been removed, and I was like, okay.
Remember, Quentin, I talked about that last week. When you get that email saying you've been removed,
okay. And I was just like, okay.
Hey, Nakia. Y'all still friends?
Yeah, because he holds nothing against. Let me not say that. Let me not say he doesn't hold anything against me, because he really does. Because he was very bothered by the fact that he wasn't bothered by the fact that I said I wanted to divorce him, because he actually signed all the papers, and he said he understood that I was not built for the additional years that he had. He completely understood that. His whole thing was, in the time that he had, why didn't I at least try to hold him down in the time that he had? Like, okay, fine. You didn't want to be my wife. That's cool. You didn't want to do this. That's cool. But you could have at least like put money in my books. And I was like, I mean, I kind of did though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did do this.
Let me just say this to you about him. He knew. Let me tell you something. They know. Quentin, I understand what you're saying. Like, they don't, but you kind of know when you in trouble with the feds. So, like, gossip is, we just talked about how it run through the jail fast. He knew that the feds was coming. He just didn't know they was coming that day. He knew eventually they was going to come. So he wanted to lock you down and get them words in your ear and tell you everything that was right, and married you. And then he figured you would just be like, oh, well, I'm just going to ride it out. When you was like, nah, I ain't built. He was like, oh, all right.
14 years.
Like, push-ups right now.
So Nakia.
Because Quentin, don't y'all do push-ups when y'all get mad?
Yeah, you gotta blow some steam off. listen, Nakia, I'm gonna ask you, what's next? He about to touch.
Yeah, he about to touch. What's good?
Yeah, like he about to touch in another 2-3 years.
That's like this. It was just,
listen, all them letters, excuse my French, all them little fantasy letters and dates and walk on the park and all that stuff. He might be looking for that.
We want to,
or at least a conversation.
He I honestly believe one of the reasons why I got that good you have been deleted is because he literally has a girlfriend. And I believe that he's ready to move forward with her. And I mean, at least I hope he is, because that ain't happening over here. Like, and I get it. I really do. Like, because at that time, when he was emailing me, him and his girlfriend was kind of at like an impasse, so to speak. And she was feeling some type of way or whatever, like, oh, how you gonna talk to her? And I'm like, ma'am, it's not going down like that. So I hope you really stay in communication with him.
A man in jail. Ain't either one of us having sex with him or nothing. So
I'm gonna ask you a question. Kid.
At all.
Looking back at it now, do you wish you never asked him a question about the other guy?
No, because all jokes aside, he saved his life. Like, real talk. Like, as angry as he was at the situation, he still saved his life because he was the triple that could do that. And he was the one that had the respect out of everybody that was in the prison system at that time. So, part of the reason why he's even still here today is because of it. Now, whether they want to give me the respect that I am owed because of that is between them and their emotions. But the truth of that is a lot of people, including my other ex-husband, is still able to, be here because I give you the respect. Like,
Married another inmate too?
nah, like my ex-husband, he was in the church and he put my head through that good car window. So a lot of people do not understand that whom I was really, really married to and whom I'm really connected to outside of just being married, outside of just being family, outside of like all that stuff is concerned, like everything is intertwined. And a lot of people do not understand that. So a part of the reason why some people are yet still here today is because I respect you enough to allow you to breathe as a human being.
Ooh, okay, boss. Nah, I dig
No,
it.
because that's real. Because let's be real. Because as women, we can get family involved in situations that might not be as beneficial to the other person, but because of the situation that we are in, and not because I want to be with you, not because I still love you, not because of anything, but really and truly because I still respect that my family needs to breathe, my family
I
feels
think,
live.
hey, Lakia, it's interesting that you going down that avenue
Mm-hmm.
because I think that sometimes you and Kay would be two people that would be perfect for me to do a show and talk to both of y'all because I think that sometimes people don't understand that here it is you getting into situations with women and you doing this and that like you getting a pass, dude. Like
So let me just say this in closing, but I just have something to do at 10 o'clock. Let me say this, what she just was saying about you just trying to keep them free. In our 20s, quitting, we would call y'all and 15, 16, 17. I'm calling. Remember that time I had that beef at the skating rink and I called y'all all up there and I'm not going to put your business out there, but you had to do what you had to do to a girl that thought she was going to do something to me, whatever. So, at this age, I'm not gonna call y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna call y'all and to get y'all in trouble. And I gotta on this note, y'all can keep talking. I gotta bow out because I gotta handle some business outside with my neighbor. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for
all
listening.
right,
I hit you in a minute.
Kay's corner.
Love you, Kay.
All right. So Nikki, I mean, it's up to you if you want to wrap up the show or not. I
Go ahead,
mean,
let's do it.
but your insight is very unique. I think a lot of people don't understand the dynamics of being, as we say, locked down, love, and lies. Like Kay has said that we were going to focus on the lies, and I really don't think, and from my angle, I really don't think that a lot of guys be lying. I think that a lot of guys be sincere.
I
Um,
don't know. There are lies.
but
Let us not deceive
it,
anyone into thinking that there are not lies. I will say this, like my ex-husband with who he is and who he was, he did not lie. My ex-boyfriend was a liar. He was
okay, okay,
literally a liar, which is
yeah,
the reason why I then had to use my good ex-husband in order to ensure that he would make it through the prison system based on his lies, right?
yeah, yeah,
Now, even with that, posed its own issue because of the state of command and integrity that they live with. That had nothing to do with me. All I could do was just vouch and say, from me, don't do anything to him. Why? Because he has a mother and that's her only son. I had to literally vouch on hopefully maintaining the integrity and the character of a man to say, think of it if it was your own mother, right? And that won out as opposed to the code, right? However, A lot of times that's not respected. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, from being in the system, and we definitely ain't gonna put everything on the internet. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. I I know the language that you speak in, and I don't think that people understand. Definitely your ex boyfriend. I know he understood the code, because so he just felt as though that whatever.
I think a certain part of him understood that code, but even at that point, oh, you're trying to get me, and I'm like, no, I'm really trying to help you. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, I'm actually trying to help you. So if you just sit back and let me work what I know I need to work, it'll work. Which is why in 2020 he's still here today,
yeah,
regardless of
exactly.
what anybody thinks. But the truth of the matter is, 2020,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
here today.
yeah. You definitely you saved him at the end of the day. You saved him.
Yeah, because and the truth of the matter is, because me and his mother had such a good relationship that I felt, all jokes aside, compelled to say, nah, this would hurt her. Forget him. Forget what he did. Forget all that stuff. This would hurt her more if her son was not here. So now
Hmm.
we're gonna figure this out. And it had to be figured out.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you like to add? I mean, your perspective, like I said, is very unique perspective, and I don't think that a lot of people understand that. If you meet somebody in jail, or somebody that go to jail, you can fall in love with them. I think that a lot of times people are very judgmental and be like, "Oh, I wouldn't have did this, I wouldn't have did that," but you never know what you're gonna do when you're put in that situation, and you have no as I like to say, you have no control over your heart. Your heart's gonna take you where it wants it to go. So
I would say this. Um, Through my experience with both of them, and Lord knows there was probably about two additionals that played in the mix of all of that were locked down, so-called love, right? Um, I would say that a lot of times people feel that you cannot listen to the words in which they speak, right? But there are actions that are behind the words in which that they speak. My ex-husband, and he is the only ex-husband that I will ever claim in this life. He lived by being a husband. Um, if I did not have, he made sure to provide, period. There was no question asked. There was no, oh, I don't know if I can do this. It was, okay, I need to get on the phone with so and so because you don't have, therefore, if you don't have, I don't have. And if I don't have, then something is wrong because you don't have. So therefore, I need to make sure that you have so that you're at peace. And one of the things that he was very, very big with was me being at peace. All jokes aside, I really truly do feel that had he not gotten the additional 14, 15 years of that Fed time when he was supposed to come home, he and I more than likely would probably still be together to this day, because he understood me, I understood him, and he got me better than I could say anybody that has ever been walking has ever gotten me, right? My ex-boyfriend did not get me. He did not understand me. He did not hear me. Only thing he really thought of was based on him getting out and living a lifestyle that he thought that he should live once he came home, right? And I can honestly say that at that time we were both very young because we were both in our 20s at that time. And being with someone that young is going to prove to you exactly how they think, how they move, how they act,
mhm,
right? So I truly do believe that as grown individuals, you have to really begin to comprehend and you have to really begin to think about your future, where you want to be, how you want to be, where like literally everything that encompasses who you are. Um, when I was with my ex-husband, I was literally in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? So compared to where I am today, we're on two different planes. And I would not suggest for any woman to literally give her life away to someone that is in that level of a situation where they are literally locked down 24/7. But what I will say is that you can't discount or discredit your experiences in life in order for you to learn from them, in order for you to move forward from them, in order for you to build from them, because every experience that I've had, I've literally built from. You know what I'm saying? And I don't
Yeah.
judge every book by the same cover. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people judge the same book by the same cover. Oh, he was locked down, so therefore this is what he's going to be. No, everybody is different, right? Everybody takes their lesson from jail a different way. So I have learned how to, begin to assess, begin to understand. And that is, truth be told, my message to every woman. My experience might not be your experience, but you might be able to relate to an experience. And the truth of the matter is, you have to then begin to assess that experience for yourself. Everything is about assessing the risk for yourself. Where do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? And where do you see yourself going? You know what I'm saying? And
Any
that's where I'm
any anybody in the chat, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share as to the channel as well. And Nakia, before we go, please explain to the everybody in the chat about your podcast, what you're doing with your podcast. What's the audience you're trying to reach? I know that you're real you into your faith, which is a very good thing. Just explain what you're doing.
I am very much so into my faith, but I'm also very much so real. I believe in God. Um, I believe in what I believe, but I also do understand that there are a lot of us that have been hurt by the things in which we have experienced. So with the Muzzles Off podcast, I literally took the muzzle off and able to be able to discuss things that might not be along the cultural realm, that might not be on along the let's say church realm, spiritual realm, societal realm, whatever that realm is that we kind of place it inside of a box. I have taken the muzzle is off podcast and said we're gonna like remove the box and we're just gonna talk. And I want everybody to be able to have a voice that has actually felt voiceless. Sometimes when you feel voiceless, you feel powerless. And I want everyone to understand that you have a voice, you have power, you have security within your voice. So that is what literally drove me to start the Muzzle is Off podcast.
And if you type in Nakia's name that's on the screen and on YouTube, her channel actually does pop up under her name, so very easy to find. She tries to you do your podcast every Wednesday at 8.
Every Wednesday at like 7 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, I
So
have a special podcast going out tomorrow, Monday, in order to discuss some things. But back to the regular schedule program every Wednesday
great, great.
at 7 p.m.
Well, Nakia, listen, we appreciate you coming on the show, and definitely we gonna link up and try to do something because you're a writer, and I always have for some reason. I was one of the people that when I was away, I did read a lot of books, so I seem to always link up with authors. So I definitely want to talk further with you to discuss writing and what made you write a book and so forth and so on. So we could definitely have you back on the show as well. And we really appreciate you coming on the show tonight and being able to explain your perspective of lockdown love and lies.
And it be a lot of lies, but
Listen, for everybody in the chat, thank y'all for joining the show, and everybody have a blessed night.